Here we have classic Leetcode problem number 1 called twosum, and basically you're given an array of integers called nums and an integer target. Return two indices of the two numbers such that they add up to the target. So you may assume each input would have exactly one solution, and you may not use the same element twice. So this is actually a simple problem, but you just basically need to know which data structure to use so that you have an efficient solution. There's one way you could do it is you could do a nested for loop, and you could start here and you could check each one and then check if this first number adds up to the target by checking each one, and then if it doesn't, for example, I know 2 and 7 do add up, but if it doesn't, you would move on to the next iteration, check this number, check all the other ones over and over again, and that would be actually a bad solution. That would be O of n squared. But if you use a hash map to store the numbers that you've already checked, you could use that to reference later when you want to find the index of the complement. Now, what is a complement? So, for example, if you have the target is 9 in this case, and then let's say you're on index 2 and you're in a single loop because we want an O of n solution. You know 9 minus 2 is equal to 7. So the complement of this element is 7 because 2 plus 7 equals 9, which is the target. So we know we could just loop through each problem. We can calculate the complement by doing target minus current element, we'll just call it E. So target minus current element equals complement. Once you have the complement, it's very simple. You reference, as I stated earlier, you reference a hash map and you check, is this complement within the map? If it is, you return the index of the current element. In this case it would be 0, and then you would return the index of the complement. In this case it would be 1. So the correct solution is 0 and 1. And using that hash map to check for the complement, that's how you find it, an O of n solution. So let's get into the code. So as I stated earlier in the explanation, we have to use the correct data structure. And in this case, it is a hash map that stores an integer key and an integer value. That way, the key can be the number itself within nums, and the value can be the index, because remember, we have to return two indices. So we make hash map with integer. We can just call it map, doesn't really matter. Equals new hash map. And then we can just get into our for loop. So we want to loop through nums, so int I equals 0. I is less than nums dot length I plus plus. So at the beginning of the loop, as I said earlier, you want to calculate the complement, because that complement will be the element that is needed in order to know if two numbers add up to the target. So as I said, int complement equals target minus the current element, which is in this case is nums at I. Now we do a conditional statement. We say if if the map contains the key complement, and remember, this you have to assume it's exactly one solution, and you may not use the same element twice. So we have to make sure that the index of this is not the same as the current index we're checking. So if map contains key complement and map.get, and we can do complement, and map.get complement does not equal to I. So, oh, that looks a little bit bad. I'll just push this if statement back. So why are we doing that? We're just going to make sure we're not using the same element twice, and we're going to make sure the complement is in the hash map. That way we can go ahead and return the index of that complement and the index of the current element. So this solution actually wants an int array with the two indices like so right here. So I can actually just initialize it right here to make things easier. So int result equals new int array of size 2, and then we can do res at 0. First number can be equal to I, and then res at 1 can be equal to map dot get complement. Because if you remember, in the map as a key and value, so the key is an element, and then the value will be equal to the index. But you might be saying, oh, we haven't added anything to the map yet. So we can actually just do that at the end of this for loop here. Right here. So map.add, and you can do the current element, nums at I, and then for the key, and then the value will just be I, because that will represent the index of the current element that is added. And then of course right here you can return the result. Oh, that's a nice little catch. I typed in res instead of result. So result, boom. And then in functions you always have to return something, even though technically, because there's always exactly one solution, it'll never hit outside of this if statement. But we just have to return something anyway, so the compiler doesn't get mad, so we can just return result here. But in any case, it'll always just hit this, and that's when the return will hit and give you the correct answer. So I think this should be good to go because it adds a number, does the checks, and loops through. So let's see if we submit this. Okay, map.add. Oh, sorry, hash map is put. That's a good catch. It's always put for a hash map. It's not add like a hash set. So we'll do that.